Well, Jim, obviously County's heaviest defeat of the season. Were they just far too good for us tonight?
No, I don't think they were far too good. I think the finishing was good. When you look at the first 3 goals we scored, they were all quality finishes. And you compare that to our finishing, because you'll probably tell me better than anybody, we've had more chances. And in that second half, we started on fire. We got Jimmy and Darren in on goal. How we're not 2-2, 3-2 up. And then we've given away cheap possession again. The nature of the way we lost the ball. Yeah. I can't name names now, but Paul we dropped the ball to midfield. That's going to score. We've given away a free kick. They've scored from that. We've not dealt with the ball. Scott's not dealt with the ball. Should clear. The three goals are far like errors. No, they've still got to do a lot of work, and they did it with quality. But I didn't think they were a cut above us, apart from when it came to the clinical finishing that they had, and it certainly was a difference in the game.
You took Jason off at half-time and put Jimmy Ball up front as a centre forward. I think people were amazed at that decision, but Jimmy Ball almost scored. He had 2 chances in the opening 5 minutes of the second half, which vindicated the decision straight away.
Well, it wasn't just the fact that he had 2 great chances to clean through on goal with his own pace. He won every header, he deflected every ball. He just looks like he's been playing centre forward all his life. And I think Jimmy's a fantastic player. He's got so many qualities, and I think he's a little bit wasted in that kind of midfield area, trying to create opportunities for everybody else. Yes. But once we put him and Darren up top, we just could see that they were all over the place at the back. And like I said, the lads are being there shaking their head, because Jimmy's had, although they're difficult chances, he's tried difficult techniques, and Daz had 2 great opportunities where all he has to do is just hit the target. And then Stotty's had a good chance from the corner, so we've had 4, 5, 6 chances in the second half. So how we never scored second half, I never know. But I was really pleased with the threat that Darren and Jimmy gave to us, and the second half performance. Obviously, the result doesn't lie in terms of their quality, but like I said, there was aspects of the game that shone out to me as we've got some quality, and there's other aspects where I know we need to either work hard or replace.
It's perhaps an unfair question, but did you make the decision to put Jimmy on in place of Jason at half-time today, or has it been in your mind anyway, the way you were talking after the Southport game on Saturday?
Well, I mean, me and Jason had a good chat yesterday, and we talked about the overall game that you want from your centre forward, and I think he was conscientious tonight, but again, he didn't win enough headers, didn't bring enough players into the game, and I think the error that led to the first goal just summed up where we're at the moment with him, in terms of he's got 2 runners and sets it back to their midfield, and he strides up the pitch and smacks it in. So just at the moment, unfortunately for Jason, that those dives, those free kicks he gives away, those possession he gives away are costing us goals, and unless you're scoring at the other end and being a goal threat, then you can't make up for that.
Jim, talk to me about the decision as well with the goalkeeper. Obviously, it's been a hard one for the last week, really, and I wonder whether you were second guessing whether you made a mistake on Saturday, whether you should have brought left Ian in, or it must be difficult.
I don't think it was a mistake. I think, as I said before, with some of the players, they're both equally good.
Yeah.
And I can't blame either keeper for the defeats we've had.
Yeah.
Ian had very little chance with the goals. I think Ben had very little chance with the goals. What was in my mind with Ian was that he'd done really well, but I know Southport's not been one of his favourite places. He made his debut there and he conceded a goal from a long throw in, and then when we went back there, he got himself sent off. He conceded the penalty, so it's not been a great place for him. So I thought it was probably a good time to take him out and give Ben a go. And I just felt like Ian deserved the opportunity to come back in, and like I said, I can't fault either keeper for what they've done. The distribution has been reasonably good, the support of the fans. In the first half, it was just an absolutely amazing save from Ian Hudson. I'd like to see that in the highlights again. It was like Gordon Banks.
It was.
Like I said, so we've got 2 really good keepers, so that's not the issue we have at the moment. playing one's not a mistake over the other, because like I said, to play even, we get a similar performance from both of them. What I need to do is be able to see Ian as we go through this season, to see whether he's got the attributes to step up. But I don't want a serial number 2. I want somebody who can compete, put pressure on the number 1. Maybe even looking at players who can go full time or train more. And so I need to have a look at all those aspects. The problem we have at the moment is, you know, in the team, is that unfortunately the ball comes back too easy. We're losing possession poorly up front. There doesn't seem to see a great appetite to get it back. And so therefore you can see grounded possession, which is always going to put you on the back foot, and you've got to defend. But like I said, we need to cut out those errors and be more careful in possession, and look at the other side of our game as attackers in terms of retaining the ball, get us up the pitch, winning set plays. And you know, like I said, if we do that, then we'll be back to where we were at the start of the season. We'd get much more out of our front players.
Must be hard, because you've gone toe-to-toe with Salford, you've done very well against Kidderminster in recent weeks, but when it comes to these heavily invested sides, the full-time sides, is there just a gulf that just can't be bridged?
No, I don't think there's a gulf that can't be bridged. I think that if you want to be able to sustain, we've got lads who've been working, been up at 5:30 this morning, and they've got full-time lads. Anybody would be a fool to think that doesn't make a difference when it comes to a match at 7:45 at night. They've been able to come in and train yesterday and prepare and work on their set plays, and you know, we had a couple of lads come in on yesterday and practice the set plays. You know, Adam Thomas, a real pro. So, like I said, you know, we did really well, and we perhaps got carried away with ourselves the way we did against Kidderminster, the way we did against Salford. But to do that week in, week out, Saturday, Tuesday, takes its effect. And I think that some of our part-time players have faded in the last couple of games, and you know, there's other players who perhaps maintain a standard, but we can't have 3 or 4 players who were finding fatigue and struggling with fitness. You know, Michael Clark, neck injury, Gary Stopford, we're trying to protect him. He's feeling fatigue in his hamstrings, and like I said, we're just unfortunately, you're not going to win games against a team like that, and a team like Saturday, unless everybody's at the races and everybody's got the intensity and desire and doing everything right.
Oh, well said. Just finally, you've got York City coming now on Saturday. Again, a full-time, well-invested side. And when you look at that game, you may want to freshen up this side. Will Matty Warburton maybe be available too? Who's on the bench tonight?
Well, Matty Warburton was only on the bench today. Matty was only coming here to train, and then Michael Clark made us aware of the injury, phoned around, and Adam Etchers wasn't available for injury. George West was feeling a knock and wasn't sure whether he'd be right. Harry Brazil was injured. There's so many. Even Tom Whitty, one of the academy lads. There's so many players not available to us, but that's fine. I think what we have within the group is we've obviously got Matty coming back, and Michael Clark shouldn't be too long. So we've got some ability there, but I don't think really it's about extra bodies. It's about the players that showed some form at the start of the season, getting back to there. I think that the season's probably taken its toll on players. Maybe they played above themselves, and now they're finding it more difficult, or people have found them out a little bit. But there's a lot of work to be done, because at the moment we don't look like a team that's going to be competitive for the playoffs. But I just hope that we kind of you know, dust ourselves down on Thursday, work really hard, give a better account of ourselves against York, and let's get back to winning ways, because it'd be fantastic for us, because I'm sure it's going to be a cracking occasion. You know, York full-time side with some key players, but you know, like I said, I'd like to think now that we'll show something. It's just been a horrible week. You know, the pitch has been destroyed on Thursday with Burnley playing on it, and now we've had two difficult defeats to take, and I'm looking forward to the end of this week.
I bet you are. Jim, thanks for your time. Appreciate that.